Morning ride. There's a big deal going on for those of us officially part of the class of '69. Celebrating 50 years from the time when we might have graduated. And it was 60 years ago during spring break from the University of Washington that four guys from the Fiji House across the street from here got in Bob Flick's dad's station wagon and drove to San Francisco, hoping to sing at the Hungry Eye. And the story that lasts is that they were originally rejected. At least that's what I keep hearing. And then another act got sick, and the guys packed the place with fraternity brothers when their dates from Cal Berkeley. And Mort Lewis, Dave Brubeck's manager, was in the audience and said he'd get a tape to the powers that be at Columbia Records. That meant Mitch Miller. And if Mitch signed them, that he, Mort, would become their manager. And within 18 months, the group had a #2 song in the world, had sung another song at the Academy Awards, performed at the Kennedy inauguration, and was riding the folk wave. It's an amazing story. Maybe not any more amazing than 60 years later. The story still continues. And the group is getting ready to go to Japan in a month for 5 weeks in Japan and Hong Kong and ending up in Alaska. In the first couple of years with the Brothers Four, I felt lost a little bit, or I felt stuck in Mike Kirkland's shadow. He was the guy that I replaced. And I was forever the new guy. And eventually I started getting over it. Kind of tossed him out of my mind. Who needs him anyway? And then a few years ago, I realized that I needed to see him. And it didn't work out to see him exactly. I was actually going to Sharon and Maggie's. Sharon and Maggie could finally get illegally married. And so when I was heading up to sing at their wedding and stopping in Anacortes, but Mike wasn't available at the time. So I wrote him a letter. There are a few important things I tell him that I want to tell you. He's made it okay to share it with you. The most significant one is to say thank you. Beginning nearly 45 years ago, which is now more than 50, I had a chance to stand on the shoulders of a giant, on your shoulders, and to see a way into the future. And I've been finding my way ever since. It's an amazing gift, and I want and I need to acknowledge it. And the second thing is a little subtler and will either make all the sense in the world or none at all. I wanted to tell you how you and your spirit have remained an important and an essential part of the group in this journey for all these years. Frankly, most of the ways your presence has manifested, and frankly, some of the ways your presence has manifested itself have kind of pissed me off. For example, as John Payne can attest, in November of 2001, the group sang at the Convention Center in Hong Kong, and afterwards there was a line of people circling the inside of the auditorium, waiting to get a Brothers Four CD signed. And all the songs and all the cover art was part of the Columbia years. In other words, some 40 years ago, I must have signed my name on your face at least 1,000 times that night. But much more significant than such ego-altering moments is I realized in the best of senses that you and your spirit have been and will always be a part of the Brothers Four and every Brothers Four performance. Present in that way that Henry Fonda articulated so eloquently in his soliloquy as Tom Joad in Grapes of Wrath. Saying in part, I'll be around everywhere, wherever you can look. Or present in a way that I tried to say in a song I wrote for McCoy's dad, who now resides forever on Mount Rainier. If you should ever be lonesome for me, look to the mountains and the river and the sea, and I'll be in the sunlight, alive in the storm, and I'll be in a moment that waits to be born. Every time Green Fields is sung, to the ooze of memory, where the green leaves of summer is introduced to the Oz of recognition are moments that could not exist without you. And it's with the deepest gratitude that I say on so many levels, thank you. And then to seal the deal, John Payne and I went up not long after and had lunch with Mike, and after lunch we went back to his house and we sang A Few Brothers 4 songs, and we promised that we were going to do it on stage sometime. And tonight, for the first time in 51 years, the promise is kept. Please welcome Mike Kirkland. John Payne. Mike McCoy. Carl Wilson. Is there an extra mic, Chris? No, you guys, you passed the audition. You each get your own mic.
Oh, wow. Sparing no expense.
Once there were green fields kissed by the sun. Once there were valleys where rivers used to run. Once there were blue skies with white clouds high above. Once they were part of an everlasting love. We were the lovers who strolled through green fields. Green fields are gone now, parched by the sun. Gone from the valleys where rivers used to run. Gone with the cold wind that swept into my arms. Gone with the lovers who let their dreams depart. Where are the green fields that we used to know? I'll never know what made you run away. How can I keep searching when dark clouds hide the day? I only know there's nothing here for me, nothing in this wide world left for me to see. But I'll keep on waiting till you return. I'll keep on waiting until the day you learn. You can't be happy while your heart's on the road. You can't be happy until you bring it home. Home to the green fields and me once again.
accustomed as I am to speaking in public. Mark has said that I could say a few words. I've told him this, and I've said this several times to others, but when I left, if I had been given the job of finding my replacement, I think I could have searched the whole world over and never come up with someone like Mark. So it's been a great gift to me.
And this is Carl and of course McCoy, who they've ably stepped into these guys' shoes as well. So this is and well, that's John Payne if you don't know him. He's our neighbor.
Try to remember the kind of September when life was slow and oh so mellow. Try to remember the kind of September when grass was green and grain was yellow. Try to remember the kind of September when you were tender and callow fellow. Try to remember, and if you remember, then follow. Try to remember the kind of September when no one went except the willow. Try to remember the kind of September that dreams croquette beside your pillow. Try to remember the kind of September when love was an ember about to billow. Try to remember, and if you remember, then follow. December, it's nice to remember, although you know the snow will follow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember the fire.